Hi, this is Nicholas Hamilton, Henry Bowers from It and It Chapter 2, and you're listening to the Don't Go Out There horror movie podcast.
They've conquered the big screen. Now, get ready for the spin-off sure to send chills down your spine. It's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin in Don't Go Out There, the series.
Welcome back, everybody, to DGOT, the series. We really appreciate y'all listening. We hope y'all have been enjoying these series reviews. I know we have. It's been a lot of fun. Just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgooutthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgooutthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We are continuing on with Welcome to Derry, Episode 4, the great swirling apparatus of our planet's function. Hell of a name for an episode. I thought this episode was pretty good. But I still got to admit, though, I'm still not, super locked in, but I did think this episode was fine. I don't know. I guess I'm just right there with you, Dustin. I kind of wish these horror franchises that are turning into shows would just make another damn movie. They're supposed to, I've read that they're doing 3 different time periods with Welcome to Derry, the 60s, the 20s, and 1600s. Why not just go the Fear Street route and make 3 movies? I just don't understand. But I thought this episode was fine. It didn't set me on fire, but it was enjoyable for the most part. What do you think, Dustin?
I think that if people's attention spans weren't complete dog shit like they are these days, what you just described is these would just be more books. But nobody reads anymore. So I don't think we need movies. I don't think we need shows, not for everything. I don't care about the 1600s in Derry, what you were just talking about. But as for this show and this episode, I like it, man. This one's becoming a rare exception for me. I'm still liking each episode more than I did the prior one. So this is episode 4. This is my favorite of the season so far. I don't know what it is, but something about this is just sucking me in and keeping my attention. So I think that just the expansion in the world building that we're getting in each one of these characters' individual lives and circumstances is just very fascinating to me, and I think it's very well done. So and not just that they're sprinkling in just enough of it to keep me intrigued about, it's lurking, it's there, and so it's getting closer. So I'm still having fun with it.
Well, I think on IMDb, the scores are what you're reflecting too, ain't they?
I don't know.
1 is the lowest, and 2 is a little bit higher. So I think it's something like that, but could be wrong. I might just be bullshit. Who knows?
I have to say I was riding high after episode 3. If you listened last week, you know that. But I got knocked down to earth a little bit with this one. No pun intended. It, Alien. Down to earth. Anyway. I was disappointed again with this one. I mean, it's the goofiness. I mean, the icing. It's the fucking icing. It should have been gross as hell, but instead it was so over exaggerated that I hated it. It was just overdone to me. Now, I will say and admit that I watched ahead and I watched episode 5. And so it kind of gets me back yet again. So that's something to look forward to if you haven't, in my opinion. But this is definitely an up and down roller coaster for me with this season. I mean, every episode up and down kind of thing. But as far as this one goes, just kind of meh.
Yeah. So I'm with Dustin on this as far as me liking this show. Like, I am locked into the world building that they're doing around Derry. And I like the sprinkles, the crumbs that we get. The only disagreement I think I have is this isn't a bad episode by any means. I just think it's kind of the most boring until about the last, 20 minutes or so. Now, they do some good character development with people like Charlotte, right? With people like even Will. That whole side, honestly, of this story, I think they do a good job building those characters and making them more a part of the story. I will tell you this: my number one villain in the show isn't even it at this point. It's Marge. What a man! I'll save that, but holy crap, man, she can go straight to hell, Marge. Anyway, good stuff. Not bad by any means. I just kind of felt like I kept waiting on something to happen, and maybe that actually goes back to what Dustin said, which is the attention span aspect of this, where we have a couple episodes that hit us with a lot of stuff. And now last week I complained about that graveyard scene because I thought it was hokey and cheesy, but it was a lot happening. And there's just some like lulls here, and it's not bad, just lulls, I guess. But no, I love the show. Like, I think it's one of the better show adaptations that we've covered, that we've watched. You know how big of a fan. I know it was just me and Nico Jon Snow in that thing with Bates Motel, but I like this even better than that so far.
Easily.
Okay. Calm down, pal. Hey, I just talked like Brian. Calm down, pal. Sorry.
I kind of disagree with you just a little bit, Mike, not to be, different or whatever, but like the last part with like Dick Halloran and Taniel, like, I don't know, I just felt like it was just like too much exposition, like they're just cheap way of explaining everything. It's like, and it took way too long to me too. Like that ending part just took forever to get through. But I you mentioned there with Charlotte. I like the stuff with Charlotte. I really like that. Mm-hmm. The stuff with Marge and Lily, I thought that was really good, but it just kind of petered out at the end to me personally. But that's just me though.
So that goes back to what we talked about last week when I kind of brought up how are they going to tell the origin story of it. Looks like they stuck pretty faithful to Stephen King's writing, and I don't like that. I'm kind of, they kind of have built their own little world within this Derry universe using Stephen King characters. I felt like they could have done something different. They've taken creative liberties already. What's the harm? They've put Dick Halloran in this universe from The Shine. Like, there's a lot that you could have done, but they kind of stuck true to Stephen King, which I didn't particularly love a ton. So I will give you that.
I thought it was good.
See, and I'm just throwing that disclaimer again. I've not read the book. I'm just watching whatever programs are coming out. All right, Brian, you got the scene by scene. Whenever you're ready, go ahead, brother.
All right, guys, I'm doing scene by scene on this one. So if you don't have anything else, I'm going to get started. Episode 4, Welcome to Derry, the longest episode name imaginable. We open where we left off last week with Lily, Ronnie, Will, and Rich taking the photos to Chief Bowers. I mean, you didn't think it was going to be that easy, did you? No. They were shocked, and we were not, to see that you couldn't see shit on the pictures, and Bowers basically says, get the fuck out, and we get some awesome credits. At gym class, the pre-losers club decides that they need some help, and Lily meets up with her nurse, which we don't know her name yet, but we do next episode, and it's a good reveal. Anyway, it gets reinforced that she has to take matters into her own hands. We see a convo between Rose and Charlotte is starting to see shit is not right around Derry. Back at the military base, Dick and his crew get their new digs, and we cut back to Will getting the 3rd degree from his mother, and that's the end of the set of scenes.
Yeah, that boy Rich, he needs to practice his lying. Man is telling on himself way too fast. I saw this coming immediately that Pennywise altered the pictures before Chief Bowers could see what really happened. William Easton is still an asshole, though. These kids are just trying to help. He should go hire the dog pound investigators from Saw 6. I think they figured out what's going on in this damn town. Good call by Lily to try and recruit an adult so they have more validity in their argument. I won't say it out loud, but wild headline in the paper Charlotte was reading. I will never say no to a cup of coffee. And honestly, Rose, same. As I get older, I love me a good cup of joe. Iced or hot. Preferably iced, though. Beautiful scenic shot as the army enters the danger zone. Good review talk, I know, but Toronto, where this episode was filmed, it has such beautiful scenery, and I felt it needed shout out. Still don't care about this military stuff storyline so far. No offense to the actors at all. They're doing a great job, but I'm just hoping something of note comes from it that's not trying to weaponize Pennywise or whatever, which I kind of think they are doing that.
Nice interaction with Will and Charlotte. I appreciate she believes him and wants to help. I thought it was a decent opening. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I mention this every episode now, but I'm going to keep doing it because fuck it, why not? I repeat myself all the time. I really do. Every time we take a shot into the town of Derry, I just love the way it looks. You know, you mentioned it, Nico. It's Toronto that we're filming in, but like the shot of the like downtown Derry, like Main Street, USA or whatever, I really love that. It puts you right back into that time period. And again, I think they nail that part of this series. I'm with you on the police and the chief, and I have more thoughts on the police chief later, but these police are kind of idiots, like in the sense, not that they should like full stop just believe a couple of kids, but like we could take them, have a little bit more respect. Good Lord, man. I know it's a different time, but I don't know. I felt like we could have done a little bit better there. Again, love the open. I love the credits. I think it's so fun and on its own creepy and evil, but also fun and charming. So they do a really good job with the opening credits to me. Now, one thing that I know, and I could be wrong, although I did work at a high school for a long time, they don't do gym class like this anymore, man. They don't make it like that. Everybody's dressed out. Everybody's got to be playing something instead of sitting over on the side on their phones. They don't make it like this anymore, man. I was not expecting Lily's mom to be so supportive of her and this adventure. Like, Nico kind of called that out. It was kind of smart of Lily to do that, but also having a supportive adult in the It universe was shocking to me. Like, hey, here's someone who actually believes these kids. What a novel fucking concept. Or at the very least, hey, go chase whatever you're chasing. I support you. That was nice to see. It doesn't happen that often in these shows. And this conversation with Rose and Charlotte was interesting. I'm hoping it leads to something a little bit deeper later. Like if it felt like a setup conversation, but like I've mentioned, and I'll do it again later, I love what we're doing with the character of Charlotte. Definitely the most fleshed out so far to me. I think it's good. This show has great soundtrack to me. There's some old school bangers, and Ray Charles is no different here. I mean, I love this song. But I do feel, and I like the military stuff. I was kind of off on it in the beginning. Last episode, they picked it back up and made me way more into it. I kind of felt like in this early part, we're taking a little step back in that department. The kids still are the more interesting story for me and how that ties in. Last thing I have, the kid, as he's crying, the young man playing Will is great in this scene. I really like it. His acting makes me believe that he was truly horrified, terrified by what happened to him. And I think it comes across well.
Yeah, well, I do get tired of the trope of adults not believing kids or, just people not believing the people that are telling the truth in general in horror movies. I do like how this is done. It not being visible to the humans in the pictures, that's just perfect. Like, I was curious how that was going to play out because I was shocked that, last episode that they captured anything at all in the pictures. So I was curious how they would do that. And I thought that the police looking at like, oh, what is that? That was a great way to keep us on edge and also just mess with the kids. I thought that was really good. Good progression of our moving parts in this open with Charlotte and Rose talking and Dick and his boys getting a new hangout. It is kind of weird that Charlotte would be so suspicious of just some random pictures. Like we've already seen there's nothing in them. It's just pictures of a cemetery. So it was a weird tone that she took. You want to tell me about these? I found them stuffed away. Like, okay, it's just pictures. That was weird to me. One thing I will say about the song that they play, I think it's the next set of scenes, but the See the Girl with the Diamond Ring. Every time I hear that song, I just think of that's the song that was playing when Big Tom Callahan died and Tommy Boy had to take over Callahan Auto Parts. Yeah. But anyway, this is a solid open. That's a Tommy Boy reference, Nico.
That's Tommy Boy, great movie, and that's Ray Charles, brother. That's a great one. Yeah. Great tune.
I've seen Tommy Boy. It's a good movie.
Oh, okay.
We open up at the Hanlon dinner table, and Charlotte covers for Will, and Leroy knows that she's got a little something up her sleeve, because, of course, she does. Can't wait for Dustin to comment on that. And boy, does she. But Charlotte has at least Will's back, and we cut to the great outdoors, where we're fishing in the lake. Nothing bad is gonna... Holy shit, Will is pulled into the water by a water Pennywise. And there was like every Batman action figure out there. We had Ice Batman, Ski Batman, Undercover Quick Change Batman. That's how I'm going to start describing Pennywise through this. We get Water Pennywise, who looks like a burned Leroy from the war, and he pulls Will under and almost drowns him. After saving him and things calm down, Leroy sees a red balloon floating in the distance. And I've got to say that I'm kind of happy, honestly, that adults are seeing some of this stuff now, if I'm telling the truth here. Back at the police station, Charlotte is getting into some shit and meets with Sheriff, who roadblocks her concerning Hank. Oh, that won't be the end of that. Back with Dick and the boys, Hanlon sees grandmother Pennywise in a vision in the woods when Leroy pulls up and wants to know what the fuck is going on in this town. But the convo just pisses off the both of them, and that's the end of the set of scenes.
Yeah, realistic family dinner. I'm not mad at it, and I love to see the father and son fishing. Will isn't interested at all. That kind of breaks my heart. I love fishing. I love the moment between them when Will gets a bite. So heartbreaking losing a fish, but Dad, why wouldn't you bring your tackle box with you? Like, that pissed me off. What are we doing, brother? I thought it was a lazy way to get Will alone, in my opinion. Like, who doesn't take their tackle box with them? Of course you're going to break off every now and then. I thought the CGI fish looks awful, and we all saw this jump scare coming. I think we've all kind of complained about the CGI. I think it's pretty bad for the most part, considering it's probably got a pretty high budget. But I did love the red balloon floating by. I thought that was a great touch. Very real moment between Charlotte and Chief Bowers. She expressed her real concerns, and Bowers was stern. He said, this ain't the South. But I don't know. I'm kind of suspicious of Bowers at this point. Wish we could have heard a phone conversation between Charlotte and Granny Grogan before we just see her at the house, because everything they said could have been said on the phone. I didn't understand that. Just now noticing it hit the casting. I just now noticed it. The casting of Chris Chalk as Dick Halloran. I think it's top notch. He looks very similar to the great Scatman Carruthers. I thought it was a great casting. Last thing I got. Good question, Leroy. What the hell are we dealing with? Is this what we're all? That's what we're all wondering? I loved Halloran's crash out too. I don't know what the hell it is. Maybe I don't want to know. I thought that was a good scene. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Leroy is a very of the time dad in the way he sits at the dinner table and kind of runs the dinner table, even though Charlotte's a strong character and can't praise that enough, the writing behind her. And I do get sad because there is a little bit of a disconnect with father and son, and I can almost desperately see him wanting to connect to his son more. Hence this trip that they go on at, really at the recommendation of Charlotte doing something fun. And I don't know about you guys, but boy, I miss doing fun stuff sometimes. Working to live and living to work, buddy. I would give anything to go fishing for a little bit. You know what I mean? So you got to enjoy it, buddy. Now, what I wouldn't enjoy is being reached out of the water at and got all up and haunted by this entity. That would also suck. Now, I know it's a little, Dustin, Nico, you guys kind of talked about it in the open about how these are good stories that they're telling, but because it's a TV show, it gets a little bit drawn out. This is a part of the episode I think we're kind of moving at a snail's pace until that scene in the water happens. Like, we're just kind of creeping along, like trolling along the water there. And I'm just, okay, it's just moving a little slow here in this episode. What I do like is more adult seeing stuff and believing in their kids. This episode does a great job of kind of stamping that not every adult in the town is against this group, this new losers club or old losers club, however you want to put it. And I love that his dad sees the balloon, right? I mean, again, that's a great sign of we're about to get Pennywise in the flesh, I think. I have not watched episode 5 yet, even though it's out. I was hoping the police chief was a good dude who felt forced to make a move like all politicians do. But no, man, this dude sucks butt, okay? He's a poop from a butt, to quote somebody fun. And yeah, man, he's just like every other crooked police chief and every other small town. Sucks. And like I said last week, I've said it 30 times, but it bears pointing out here. I love how they're fleshing out the character of Charlotte. I really do. She's probably the most interesting character as far as development that we have in the show so far, to me. And it makes me want to know what she's up to the entire time, because she's definitely now she's intuitive, right? So she automatically assumes something bad is going on in this town. Now she's right. So she's following and trusting that instinct. Last thing, I can't blame Dick Halloran for not being fully transparent about what he's capable of, what he's seen, what's going on here. No one would believe him. I know they're in the North, quote, but, he's a black man in the military. No one would believe him. And at that time, they probably would have thrown him in a mental hospital had he started spouting off about this stuff anywhere outside of the military. And so, yeah, sometimes you just got to do what you're told, unfortunately.
Man, I used to hate fishing with my dad. I mean, I would kill to do it now since he's gone, but fishing was like my least favorite thing to do. Not just with him, just in general. I can sit in a tree stand all day and never see a deer and not get bored, but fishing just bores me to tears. So as soon as I saw they were fishing, I was like, poor kid. I like that it gets spooky, though, as soon as Will's alone. It's just lurking, waiting for the adults to be gone. And the balloon, that was just a chef's kiss on this scene. I think Chris Chalk's dick did a great job when Hanlon was talking to him. Like, his nonverbal acting was fantastic when he said that Will told him that there's something bad in Derry, and him hearing about what Will supposedly saw. Like, his facial expression was just so good to see, like, or to show that if I'm looking at him, telling him this, and he's looking at me like that, I'm thinking, okay, this guy's either spooked by what I just said, or he knows more than he's letting on. Either way, it's not a good situation. And I thought that was really good. But, yeah, I didn't have much, just another solid set of scenes.
We cut to the pre-losers club again in their hideout, and Will kind of explains what we already know as an audience, as the entity feeds on fear. Oh, don't worry, because Lily swiped her mama's little white, quote, fun pills to hopefully make them so doped up that Pennywise can't feed off of them anymore. I mean, to be honest, that sounds like a kid plan. In class, they're watching a moving picture show about snails. That won't come back, right? And Marge fake makes up with Lily as we cut back to the jail, as one of Leroy's guys sees Charlotte going into the prison to meet Hank. She blackmails a cop, that's going to be well, to be able to get to actually talk to Hank in jail. And there, she finds out Hank had an affair with a white woman, a married one at that, and can't reveal his whereabouts on the night of the murder to protect her. Back at the school lunchroom now, Lily is sitting with Marge, and Marge convinces her a cute boy likes her and goes to the bathroom to freshen up. All part of an elaborate prank by the Mean Girls crew, though, but Marge gets a conscience and goes to the bathroom to tell Lily the truth. But before she can, two snail-like things emerge from the eyes, and she runs up to the workshop where her great idea is to try to cut her eyes off with a fucking buzzsaw. Great plan, Marge. Great plan. Lily stops her, though, as Marge stabs her own eye with a chisel. And as Lily intervenes, everyone walks in to catch her holding the chisel over Marge. Dun, dun, dun. The next set of scenes is the ending.
Yeah, we get another kid camaraderie scene, and I'm always going to be a fan of this. Like, this is what I think of when I think of, like, It. I laughed at Rich crashing out that whatever it is wants to eat them. Like, yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Figuring out the whole let's not be scared of it pretty quick. Like, all right. I feel like they figured that out a little bit too fast, personally. I laughed at the officer's sigh after Charlotte laid the verbal smackdown on him. Sis was ready to bring all hell against him, and rightfully so. I don't know much about Taylor Page, but she has such a nice southern twang, which is impressive after finding out she was born in California. I really like that. Well, and we find out Hank is a milkman. Lord, what a revelation. Not the right time to be a milkman, brother. Fuller has a haunting stare when agreeing to let the Indian kids in the fence. I thought that was a very nice touch. And damn, Marge, I wasn't expecting her to pull a fast one on Lily. She seemed like she was authentic, but, they always say girls support girls, but it's not always the truth. Marge tries to tell the truth, and all hell breaks loose. Sorry, but this CGI with her eyes popping out of her head I thought looked terrible. Not trying to beat a dead horse, but they could have done so much better, in my opinion. This is gnarly as hell, her sawing her eyes off on the table saw. Good night. I like that scene a lot, though. Lily got caught as nasty as Salonius by Batiotis and Asher. If you know, you know, all my Spartacus fans out there. Last thing I got, Mike, damn, what a way to end the set of scenes. I really like that with Lily and Marge. That was great.
Yeah, I love this kid camaraderie scene as well. A lot actually kind of happens in the dialogue. Like you mentioned, they kind of come to the conclusion to not be scared of it quicker than I would have wanted, although I don't know if this is one season and the next season we're getting a different time period. Maybe there's a reason for that. So even though we have a lot of time, maybe we don't have a lot of time. I'm not exactly sure. But having someone around like Will would be significantly, having someone smart around scientifically would be great. you know, he can kind of explain things to the group. And I am glad that they've solidified this group of kids as their own version of the Losers Club. Like it makes that world building that we've talked about feel more like it's back in that It universe that we're used to. And so I really like that they do that. And here's the real problem with society today, as Jimbo Fisher would say. We don't say things like that would be swell anymore. That would be swell. What a great line from Lily. We don't say stuff like that anymore to each other, man. We say dumb shit like we do on this show, myself included. So, you know, I mean, if we just talk like that to each other, maybe that would fix all of our issues. Probably not. Charlotte is a badass of this show, man. She's great. Talking to these police, she doesn't give a fuck. You could tell she's walked the walk and talked the talk where they were from before, and she's not scared to back down of anyone. So, and my man Hank, man, he was playing hanky-panky with a married white woman. That's a tough time to be doing that, and that's a hell of an alibi, by the way. I mean, raise your hand in this room if that's ever been your alibi.
With a married woman, yeah.
A married white woman?
Yeah. Married of all races.
And Marge, I talked about it in the open. Don't trust Marge at all, and I fucking knew I shouldn't have. Being way too nice. We know that all she cares about is being popular, and I knew it. What a fucking bitch, man. I'm sorry. But how could someone be so mean to someone that was supposed to be your friend? Like, I just don't understand that. Women, and I know what Dustin's going to say, women. And he's not wrong in this case, actually. And, you know, what killed this scene, and it's a good scene. I don't want to take away from the writing of this, the dynamic between the two. I like all of it. It's just the CG it's too much. Like if they just used a little bit, maybe. And I know we're kind of just supposed to ignore that, right? Like I think they're wanting us to just take it as it is and ignore it, but I can't. It's overbearing. It just doesn't look good. And it's not like we haven't seen good CG before, right? Like I do think it can be done well. Even in the first movie, I think there's good CG in this universe. Now, budget stuff, you know, whatever, but I don't know, maybe cut the scene down some, make it from far away, like something. There's got to be a way to cover this up. Last thing, what happens to her is horrifying, and I knew they were going to make it look like Lily did something, and that was very effective. So shout out to them. No matter the CG, how they pulled off the end of this set of scenes, I think was really well done.
Yeah, more good stuff with the kids continuing to figure out their plan, and then Charlotte visiting with Hank. The way that she took control of that situation to get the visit was just awesome. I mean, you mentioned character development. She went from seeming like just a typical housewife. Now, they've mentioned that she has a past, and she's been known to stir the pot a little and cause some, not trouble, but cause some trouble in the southern white towns. But we hadn't seen it. And so to see her just completely flip things on its head, that was awesome. And then we hear Hank's real alibi. I mean, it makes a lot of sense when he lied. When we got that scene, though, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Undercover Brother, but that's what popped into my head. All I could think was he had sex with a white woman. And then I could hear Dave Chappelle saying, she had pink nipples, didn't she? Like, that's what popped into my head. Marge and the Mean Girls, just horrible people. It shows that women are evil from a young age. Like, it just comes natural to them. It's hard to feel bad about what happened to her eyes. Now, I agree the CG didn't look good by any stretch of the imagination, but it didn't bother me as much as it did you guys, and that's fine. Like, I can understand why it did. It didn't look good, but it didn't take me out of it. It is what it is. But I do think that cutting my eyes out with a saw would be probably a last resort. I would have tried something else. She didn't try anything else. She just went, oh, my eyes. Went to the first available classroom, which happened to be woodshop, and just cut her eyes out. I'll tell you who would never let that happen. Substitute shop teacher Hank Hill would have never allowed that to happen. It was wild. And then poor Lily. Man, that girl's never going to see a wall that isn't padded again. I'm ready for the ending.
We open up at the Hanlons, where Leroy confronts Charlotte about meeting Hank at the police station, and Will can't sleep. So he gets up to use the telescope that his dad got him and sees a hooded cowboy hat wearing Pennywise, hiding behind a tree. He screams, and Leroy goes outside to whip some ass when he sees another red balloon in the tree. Again, so glad that they aren't going, oh, you crazy kids route, and the adults are getting some of this shit. I love it. The next day, Leroy busts into Dexter's dad's office and demands to know what the hell is going on. Shaw brings him to the interrogation observation room, where we see Dick with my people, Taniel, who they caught past the fence to get closer to the dig site. Halloran uses his power to enter Taniel's mind, seeing a memory of him talking with his aunt, Rose, about a spirit ant named Galoo. Galoo. Wasn't there an old action figure company named Galoob? That's what that reminds me of. The spirit arrived on Earth millions of years ago and terrorized people until Native Americans, that's my people, made a dagger made from a shard of the spirit's star, which contained it. But the settlers arrived, the spirit fed on them and grew stronger. The natives took the shards of its star and used them to contain the spirit in the woods, which would later become Derry. And then white people that came and ruined it all. When Halloran asks to know the location of the pillars, Taniel directs him to a door that leads to a well-known house to us It fans, that run-down house on Neibold Street. You know, that shit been run down this long. Was it ever nice? Damn. How is it still even standing in the 80s? Anyway, what did y'all think of this episode?
All right, this isn't a bad thing, but what a come down from what just happened to Marge to, Charlotte cutting tomatoes. But like the guys have mentioned, you got to build them up just to bring us back down. But that was quite the transition. Nice jump scare with a clown being seen in the telescope. I will give the show credit building up Pennywise. They know what the audience is waiting for, right? Ultra nitpicky, but I don't know if those kind of streetlights were used back in the 60s. Those looked LED to me, but, I'm a streetlight guy where we give out a shit ton of lights at my job. Nice to see Halloran's skills being used on Brian's nephew to get some answers. Halloran is a better man than me. Someone spits on me, I'm swinging on him. Fuck that. Epic moment with Dick using the shine to tap into Taniel's mind. I thought that was really good. I have no clue if this is in the book, but Pennywise's origin coming from a star millions of years ago and natives finding the ancient star and making a dagger. Not really setting me on fire, just being honest. The attack scenes of the tribe's biggest fears is pretty cool, but I'll give it that. The voice used by the Gallo, prepare to meet thy God, I found it kind of hokey and too formulaic personally. It didn't kill it, but it's just man. This exposition and origin story is starting to run long at this point, like I mentioned earlier. Aunt Rose has an eye issue now, and Halloran reveals himself. Is he a good guy or a bad guy? I'm assuming he's a bad guy so far. I thought it was another decent episode, but if I'm keeping it a buck, I'm not really set on fire with it either. I do wish I could have watched this episode with Brian because I know these Native American chants with the end credits. Probably got him to do a rain dance or something. Probably got him all fired up. That would have been fun to see. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, Mike. Got him.
I'm getting him back for all these damn alien jokes I've caught the past 6 years.
That's fair. Great, fun transition shot to Charlotte cutting the tomatoes. I thought that was fun. And after all that, back in the first episode when the dad buys the telescope and he makes the awkward joke of spying on the neighbors and nobody laughs and it turns out he was right. He ends up turning the telescope on the neighbors, to be honest, and then see someone looking back at him. He's out here making dad look crazy in the streets, yelling around. But just the subtlety of seeing the balloon in the tree was very well done. Love that. And I got to be honest, I was fully expecting this man to hit Dick. Hit him, but he spit on him, and that's even worse. There's not a whole lot worse things that you can do to someone than spit on them. So fucking disgusting. Now, Dick has more skills than any other Dick I've ever seen. He's good at taking people's minds over. So, what? There's a lot of people named Richard that call themselves Dick, man. What's the problem here? Anyway.
I'm just saying the way you phrase that makes it sound like you've seen a lot of Dick that didn't have talent.
I have seen a lot of untalented Richards in my life. Have you never seen untalented Richards? Just asking. I'm not okay. Anyway, we'll move on. I like this flashback to, him as a little kid, Brian's nephew, the Nico reference, and Rose talking, but I was disappointed that they kept the majority of the origin story from the book. And just because it's not bad, it's just nothing outstanding. As I've quoted Jimbo Fisher twice on the show, that shows you where my mind is. That needs a lot of work, got to get a lot better. As Jimbo would say, where it's not bad, I just wish it was better. That's all. And it does go on a little long. I felt like we could have cut a little bit of that down. But what the moral of the story is, and I think this is clear, those white men are dangerous because everything was fine until the settlers came in. And I know that's my last name and everything, but I don't think they were talking about my family, as Brian Kelly would say. They were talking about settlers of the land, the white people. So they were dangerous, and they're right, 100% we are. I was just kind of hopeful they were going to write a different origin story or tweak it or whatever, but it wasn't bad. It didn't take me out of it, because I almost don't care about the origin of it now that I know. It's kind of like, the Ghostface killer, where that's like not the most important part to me. Last week I was asking for the origin early so we could kind of get it out of the way. So now that we know, I'm fine. I'm ready to move on. And at least we know. And again, good episode. Love the way that Dick Halloran's used, because I agree with you, Nico. They're adding context to his character in The Shining a little bit, where we don't, you watch The Shining again. Is he a good guy there? I mean, not really. Really? So I can kind of see where you're coming from. Maybe he is a bad guy here as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty gross transition from the eyes to Charlotte cutting the tomatoes, but I thought that was very well done. Like, that's a great scene transition there. Pennywise lurking in the shadows and scaring Will, that was another great scene. And then Hanlon thinking it was someone watching the house because of Charlotte getting involved in Hank's situation. That's a great wrinkle. Like, that's really good stuff there. You guys mentioned you spit on me, to quote Kevin Gates, Lord help you. Like, man, woman, child, whatever, Lord help you. But that's why I thought that Jalen Ramsey handled himself extremely well against Jamar Chase. But I know that everyone was a little trepidatious about the It origin story. And, Mike, you mentioned your displeasures with them sticking to the book. But, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was well told. It did go a little bit long, but it never took me out of it. So I was in, and honestly, it sets up even more intrigue. I have a feeling that episode 5 might get even higher of a score than this one did from me. Like, that's just how we're trending here. They just continue to get better and better with each week, and I gave this episode an 8.75.
I think Bill is supposed to be revealed next week too. Like Pennywise, kind of thing. He's supposed to appear next week.
Spoiler,
so.
Nice.
But I did see it on the internet.
I mean, the episode's already out already. Technically.
Yeah.
Right. Really quick, so just to clarify, I was disappointed by them sticking to the original origin, but not enough to make me be like, fuck this. Like, it's more just like, man, okay, moving on. Like, doesn't make it any less interesting to me as a show. I just was kind of hoping for some tweaks, I guess, more than anything. But that's my own fault, not theirs, right? That's my own expectations there.
Well,
so I got my.
I don't even know though. Like, I haven't read it, so I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It just took a long time to get there to me.
Sure.
Like, the story could have been told a little bit faster, but anywho, I thought it was a solid episode. Looking forward to next week. Looking forward to seeing the clown for sure. Final thoughts, guys, before we get out of here.
Nope.
All right. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week with episode 5.
Good night, Canada.
Dick Halloran.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody,